Hi, I'm Noelyn. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. 5 years ago, I met James at a friend's barbecue. His smile caught my attention from across the yard, and by the end of the night, we were inseparable. 2 years later, we were married in a beautiful ceremony with all our friends and family present, including his mother, Vivian. You look beautiful, dear, though I would have chosen a different dress style for your body type, she whispered while hugging me at the reception. I brushed it off as wedding day jitters. I had no idea it was just the beginning. The first year of marriage was blissful, except for Vivian's constant presence. She had a key to our house, James insisted, and would often drop by unannounced. I brought dinner. I know you're working so hard, James shouldn't have to eat your cooking after a long day. She'd sweep in, rearranging my kitchen while critiquing my housekeeping. James never saw the problem. That's just Mom being Mom. She likes things a certain way. Then I got pregnant. The morning sickness was brutal, lasting well beyond the first trimester. Vivian took this as her cue to increase her visits. You're much too thin. Are you even eating enough for the baby? James, are you making sure she's taking care of herself properly? At 5 months, I developed gestational diabetes and was put on bed rest. Vivian immediately suggested she move in temporarily. No, thank you. James and I will manage, I said firmly. You've always been so independent. Too independent for your own good. As my due date approached, James and I attended birthing classes together. We discussed our birth plan with my doctor, just James in the delivery room. When Vivian found out, she erupted. I've been in delivery rooms before. I was there when James was born. This is my grandchild we're talking about. Vivian, I'm uncomfortable having anyone but James there. It's a private moment. Private? There's nothing private about childbirth. There will be doctors and nurses everywhere. Mom, Noelyn wants just me there. We need to respect her wishes. It was one of the few times James stood up to her. The day I went into labor, Vivian showed up at the hospital anyway. I'll just wait in the hall. You won't even know I'm there. No, Vivian. Please respect our decision. Her face darkened. You've always tried to keep James away from me. Now you're doing the same with my grandchild before it's even born. She stormed off, sending James texts throughout my 18-hour labor. He kept checking his phone as I struggled through contractions. When Emma finally arrived, a perfect 7 pounds 4 ounces, I was exhausted but overjoyed. James called his mother, and within 30 minutes Vivian was in my recovery room, reaching for Emma before even acknowledging me. Give her to me. I know how to hold a newborn properly. The nurses, bless them, intervened. Mom needs to bond with baby first. Vivian's behavior worsened after we brought Emma home. She'd show up daily, criticizing my breastfeeding technique, questioning why Emma cried when I held her but not when she did. Maybe she knows who really should be caring for her, she'd say with a smirk. At 6 weeks postpartum, I was still healing and severely sleep-deprived. James had returned to work, and I was alone with Emma most days. I finally changed our locks after finding Vivian in our house, holding Emma while I was napping. 2 days later, I opened our front door to find a courier with an envelope. Mrs. Wallace, you've been served. Inside was a petition for grandparental custody rights. The document claimed I was an unfit mother suffering from severe postpartum depression who endangered my child. The petitioner? Vivian Wallace. My husband's mother was trying to take my baby. The papers trembled in my hands as I slid down against the front door. My baby was only 6 weeks old, and my mother-in-law was trying to take her away. When James came home that evening, I was still sitting there, surrounded by crumpled tissues. She's suing us for custody of Emma. Your mother is trying to take our daughter. James took the papers, his face paling as he read. This has to be a mistake. Mom wouldn't do this. It's all right there, James. She claims I'm an unfit mother with severe postpartum depression. She's saying I'm a danger to Emma. He shook his head. Let me call her. There must be an explanation. I watched him pace in the kitchen, his voice low. The conversation ended with him saying, I'll talk to her tomorrow. Not exactly the fierce defense I'd hoped for. Well, what did she say? She's concerned about you, about Emma. She thinks you need help. Help? She wants to take our child. Whose side are you on? I'm not taking sides. This is my mother and my wife. I love you both. I called Carly that night while James slept. She was at my door the next morning with coffee and determination. This is insane, completely insane, she said, bouncing Emma gently while I showered for the first time in 3 days. You need a lawyer, no, a shark. Carly's cousin Marcus turned out to be that shark. He met us at his office downtown, reviewing the papers with growing indignation. This is outrageous. The burden of proof for grandparental rights is enormous in this state. She'd need to prove you're actively harming your child. She's claiming I have severe postpartum depression and that I'm neglectful. Marcus typed something into his computer. Vivian Wallace? Interesting. This isn't her first rodeo. What do you mean? She filed a similar case 8 years ago against her daughter-in-law from her first marriage. The case was eventually dropped, but only after the couple moved across the country. I felt sick. James has a half-brother? Apparently so, Matthew Wallace. And based on social media, Vivian hasn't seen her grandson from that marriage in years. James never mentioned a brother. Marcus leaned forward. We need to build our defense. I suggest documenting everything. Keep a journal of all interactions with Vivian, all conversations with James about her, and Emma's daily care routine. The next 3 weeks were a nightmare. Vivian tried visiting daily, always with some excuse about checking on the baby. When I refused to let her in, she'd call James, who'd then call me asking why I was making things worse. Meanwhile, Marcus's investigation turned up disturbing information. Vivian had been collecting evidence against me for months. She had photos of unwashed dishes in our sink, screenshots of texts where I complained about being tired, even recordings of Emma crying while I tried to soothe her. The breaking point came when I found a journal in James's nightstand. Inside were notes about me. Days I'd cried, times I'd asked him to take Emma because I needed sleep, moments of frustration I'd expressed. He'd been documenting my unstable behavior for his mother. How could you do this to me? I confronted him that night, the journal between us on the kitchen table. Mom asked me to keep track of your moods. She was worried about postpartum depression. It was for your own good. For my own good? She's using this against me in court. You're overreacting. Mom loves Emma and wants what's best for her. What's best for Emma is to be with her mother, not with a manipulative woman who's done this before. Did you know about Matthew, your half-brother? His face went blank. That's different. His mother was actually unstable. That's what Vivian told you? Marcus found the court records, James. It's the exact same situation. She drove them away. Stop attacking my mother. She's attacking our family. She's trying to take our daughter. James grabbed his keys. I need some space. You're not thinking clearly. If you walk out that door right now, don't expect to come back. He paused, hand on the doorknob. I'll stay with Mom for a few days until you calm down. This stress isn't good for you or Emma. The door closed behind him and I stood in the silence, Emma sleeping peacefully upstairs, unaware that her father had just chosen his mother over us both. The morning after James left, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. With Emma fed and content in her swing, I called Marcus. I'm done being the victim. How do we beat her at her own game? Marcus was blunt. We need irrefutable evidence of her true intentions. Right now, it's your word against hers, and she's building a case painting you as unstable. I have an idea, I said, thinking of how predictable Vivian's attacks had become. She always reveals her true self when she thinks she's winning. Our plan was simple but effective. Marcus helped me install legal recording devices in my living room and kitchen. Then I texted James that I was reconsidering things and asked if Vivian could come over to discuss arrangements for Emma's care. Vivian arrived looking smugly victorious, a notebook clutched in her manicured hands. I'm glad you've come to your senses, Nolan. I just want what's best for Emma. Of course you do, dear, and sometimes what's best is admitting when we're not equipped to handle certain responsibilities. I bit my tongue and nodded, watching her grow more confident with each passing minute. James told me you're struggling. There's no shame in it. Many women find motherhood overwhelming. It has been difficult, especially without support. She patted my hand condescendingly. That's why I've stepped in. A child needs stability. Emma deserves a nurturing environment with someone experienced. You mean you? Well, I raised James perfectly well on my own after his father left, and I helped with Matthew until his mother's issues became problematic. What kind of arrangement are you thinking? Initially, I thought shared custody, but seeing your condition, I believe Emma should live primarily with me. You could have supervised visits while you get the help you need. And James agrees with this? James trusts my judgment. He always has. He knows deep down that I'm the maternal influence Emma needs. So your plan was always to take Emma? Let's call it what it is. Saving my granddaughter from an inadequate mother. I've been documenting your failings for months. The court will see that I'm the only suitable guardian. What about James? He's her father. James works long hours. He'll defer to me on childcare matters, just as he always has with everything else. So this isn't about Emma's well-being. This is about control. I will not be pushed out of my son's life again. That woman took Matthew away, poisoned him against me. I won't let you do the same with Emma. This isn't about your grandson. This is about you trying to replace me. You're nothing, a temporary distraction. I raised James to need me, and Emma will be the same. He'll always choose me in the end. 3 days later, we were in court. James sat behind his mother, avoiding my eyes. Marcus presented our case methodically, introducing the history with Matthew's family and Vivian's pattern of interference. Then came the recordings. Vivian's voice filled the courtroom, each vindictive statement landing like a physical blow. James's face transformed from disbelief to horror as his mother's true intentions became undeniable. The judge's ruling was decisive. Vivian's petition was denied. She was barred from contacting me or Emma without written permission. James was granted supervised visitation pending completion of family therapy. "I'll appeal," Vivian shrieked as security escorted her out. "This isn't over." James approached me outside the courtroom, his face haggard. "No, I had no idea. The things she said—" "You should have believed me, James. Your mother showed me who she was years ago. Please, we can work this out. I'll cut ties with her. I choose you and Emma." "It's too late for that. I'll never trust you again. The supervised visitation stands, and the therapy isn't optional if you want to see your daughter." 1 year later, Emma celebrated her first birthday with a small party at our new house. Carly and her husband were there, along with Marcus and his family. James arrived with his therapist-approved gift, staying for his allotted 2 hours before leaving without protest. Vivian's appeals were all denied. She eventually moved to Arizona, telling acquaintances she was estranged from her ungrateful family. James continued his therapy, slowly rebuilding a relationship with Emma, though our marriage was beyond repair. As for me, I returned to school, finishing my nursing degree with Carly's help with childcare. The divorce settlement, bolstered by the evidence of James's complicity in his mother's schemes, provided financial security. "You know what the best revenge is?" I told Carly as we watched Emma toddle around her new playset. "Living well and raising Emma to recognize toxic people before they can cause damage. And having ironclad legal documentation," Marcus added, raising his lemonade in a toast. I smiled, watching my daughter laugh in the sunshine, free from Vivian's shadow. The scars would always be there, but they no longer defined us. We had survived, we had won, and most importantly, we were finally free. What would you do if your mother-in-law tried stealing your child? Share below. Story's over. If you enjoyed Noe Lynn's Revenge, like and subscribe for more toxic family drama.